I cannot consider Bangladesh my home. When you speak the local language, when they see a little bit of an accent, they already know that you're not from there.
Like a little difference.
We eat a lot of spicy food, and I cannot tolerate it too much. When I land in the airport, that I'm not from there, and that's when they start like asking questions. They make me. They always highlight the fact that I live outside of Bangladesh. Thank you for having me, Jay, here today. My name is Urmi. I live in Montreal. I work in the financial services industry. And besides working full time, I'm also a YouTuber, a speaker, a blogger, a self-published author. And I was born and raised in Italy from parents coming from Bangladesh. So I always tell people that I am Italian by birth and Bengali by blood.
So what is like being a Bengali girl, growing up in Italy? Because in Taiwan, like everyone looks the same, like everyone is
Right.
Asian.
Yeah.
But I think your situation is opposite. Like everyone is Italian.
Yeah, that's exactly how I felt. I often felt I was an outsider
Yeah.
because I feel like I could not resemble to anyone, and I was very self-conscious about it. I remember when I would go to school, like all the schools I went, they were basically in Italy. So I would go to school and all my friends were Italians, and basically like they would ask me to do things that I was not allowed to do because my parents didn't want me to, because they didn't feel like it was right for a Bengali girl to do. So things like, going out with a friend, going out to the cinema, hanging out with people. My parents never allowed me to do that because there was a perception that, I could become too Italian. They didn't want that because they still wanted me to keep that Bengali side in me. Yet I was born and raised in Italy. So when I would go to school, all my friends were Italian, and I would look around. I would always look for someone different than me. I would look for like Asian. I would look for like Latin American, and I would never see anyone that was different from me. And that wasn't just at school; it was everywhere else as well. Like going out as well was the same thing.
Yeah.
And I would say like for majority of the time, like when I did my primary school and secondary school, it was pretty much like that. Like there were not that many immigrant kids. I think there was probably like 2 or 3 immigrant kids,
Yeah.
including myself,
Only
in the
two.
whole school. Yeah, in the whole school, and that's how I felt. I felt very much an outsider. But the thing is, I had met beautiful Italian people that they always made me feel like I was included. And that's what I appreciated most about it. Because even though I knew that I did not look Italian enough from the outside. Inside of me, I did feel very much Italian because, like I was always with Italian people. Italian is almost like my adopted mother tongue, even though it's Bengali. But I felt like could always be myself around Italian people. And so, yes, there was the struggle, but there was also the other struggle that when I would go back home, I also felt an outsider there because I had so much of that Italian like community around me that at home I felt like I'm not sure if I belong to the Bengali side as well. So there was a little bit of issue that I never felt I was enough for either one of the cultures, basically.
So is there any moments you wish you were Italian when you were a kid?
Yeah, I would say I did have those moments where I wish I was just purely Italian.
Yeah.
And it was more because I could see that the life of my Italian friends was much easier than my own life. And I would say it's because of this whole, like what we just discussed, is that my parents were a little bit like when they moved to Italy, they are very strict in a sense, and it is a very conservative culture, the whole Bengali culture. So because of that, a lot of the times I was restricted from doing a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
I was the typical like obedient girl, I would just like go to school, come back home, and that's it. And what I
So
would
you
see my
cannot hang out with your friend after school?
no, no, I would
Never?
not
Like
do it.
never?
Never. No, never.
Never?
Never. If I was doing it, it was because like it was behind my parents' back. It was probably one time out of like 10, basically.
Wow, I would say that is very Asian. Very Asian. Like, hey, come on, you have to go back home, like everything, you have to be safe. Come back home to study. Like very Asian, right?
Yeah, yeah,
And
yeah.
especially
So
if you are a girl.
yes, especially if you're a girl, I feel like it's 10 times harder. And so because of that, sometimes I wish
Yeah.
I was just period time because life would have been so much easier. But now when I reflect back on it, I was like, no, I think I needed that to be the person that I am today. So I almost like don't regret it.
I can feel like now you are like no issue about your own identity. I mean now,
Yeah,
I guess.
exactly. Exactly.
Yes, but I'm curious about like what about when you were younger? Like how did you overcome your like identity struggle, especially when you were younger?
So when I was younger, I would always like, especially when I was in Italy, I would always feel like I was Bengali. Like I never felt Italian, you know, like my identity was that I'm Bengali, but I would always say I was born and raised in here. But I would say the biggest struggle came when I moved to Canada and people started to ask me like, what are you from? And I struggled a lot with coming up with an actual answer because sometimes I would say I'm Bengali and people would question it. People would be like, okay, are you sure? Because you have an accent when you speak in English. And then I would say, okay, I'm Italian. But then they would like stare at me and be like, are you sure about that? Because you don't look Italian. And so that's what made me like really question a little bit about my identity and come up with a clear answer and understand a little bit more myself. And it was more because I moved to Canada and people would question no matter what answer I would give. And sometimes I had to sit down and actually like go on and tell them my story, like how I was born in Italy, how like, you know, my parents moved there. And this was something that it was almost frustrating in a way because I was like, I don't like it when people question who I am saying to be. And so I would say a couple of years ago, it was something that made me really question it a lot. And I started to see like other people like me, like online, Instagram, struggling with this whole like identity crisis or identity struggle. And I started to learn a little bit more about myself, like who do I really want to be? And when I am like, let's say here among people, there is an Italian side of me that comes out a lot, but there's also Bengali side that comes out a lot. And I feel like my goal has been to just embrace both of them and accept both of them because they are part of me and I want them to be part of me because I enjoy Italian culture as much as I enjoy the Bengali culture. You know, we like, for example, Bengali culture, there are beautiful traditions, food, clothes, and Italian culture. It comes like with the beautiful, like, you know, the amazing food that we have. And so that's when I was like, I think I have to come up with a concrete answer when people ask me that. So that's why like I had to do a lot of inner work. And a couple of years later, I was like, okay, I think I'm ready to tell the world that I am Italian Bengali. So it was me accepting myself before telling the world like this is who I am.
You haven't seen my video with Mia, my friend, like halftime. So I
Yeah.
was wondering like because I think she took so long to find herself and now she thinks she has like a double experience as a half
Yeah.
Taiwanese. So but so how do you see yourself? Do you think you identify yourself as a like double culture
Yes.
person? Something like that?
Yeah. But I would say more like triple cultures because there is the Canadian side that I feel like has helped me a lot to find myself. So I do have to like thank and show gratitude to the fact that Canada has actually helped me to come up with an answer because
Mm.
sometimes I feel like if I never moved to Canada, I don't think I would have come up with that conclusion. Because I
You were
met,
like stuck in the
yeah,
society, right? In
yeah,
Italian society for like forever.
probably, probably. So I feel like yes, I do have a double like cultures in me, but I think I have a third one. That's why I also tell people that I am Canadian by law because I think Canada has become my second home after Italy, and I feel like I do have to give back a lot to Canada because it really helped me to come to find myself in a way. I think Canada has helped me to explore a little bit who I am, and it took me a lot. I must say, it took me really a lot of time to find an answer because it was probably like when I was 26, 27 that I came with an answer. So like it took me a lot. I feel like it's a lot of work that you have to do, and it's not supposed to be happen overnight.
You mentioned about the idea about home. So I want to talk
Yes.
about home, this idea. So because you said like you always feel like an outsider in Italy.
Mm-hmm.
But once you move to Canada, you realize your identity, right? Even though like Italian people, they always see you as an outsider, but you still feel like Italian is your first home, like always home.
Yes, I actually do. And I think it's because after I moved, I felt very nostalgic about Italy, and especially because like I would speak to my Italian friends, I still talk to them, all my high school friends, and I feel like I can always be myself around them, and that's why I feel like it's like my first home. That's where I feel like I can do whatever I want. I love the Italian food, I love speaking Italian, I love using gestures, and I feel like it's so engraved in me that it's like that is my first home. And Canada is also my home, but it's my second home because like Italy has a special place in my heart.
But what about Bengal?
Bangladesh.
Bangladesh, yeah. So do you think you can fit in the society?
No, I don't think so. I'm pretty sure like that's why Bangladesh I don't consider it my home. Because I feel like I cannot fit in. I honestly think I can never fit in the culture, and because I have that Western mentality in me, which doesn't really match with the culture over there, especially because yes, you have Bengali people outside of Bangladesh, but you have Bengali inside of Bangladesh, and the mentality are completely like opposite from each other. So yeah, I honestly don't think I can consider myself Bengali. Like I cannot consider Bangladesh my home. And when I go there, people actually make me feel like I'm an outsider, like literally.
Like more than
yes,
in Italy.
Yeah. Like I go there and people know it right when I land in the airport that I'm not from there. And that's when they start like asking questions. They make me they always highlight the fact that I live outside of Bangladesh, and it's much heavier how they make me feel that I'm like, okay, you're not from here.
But can you speak a local language?
Yes, I can. Yes.
But even though you can speak a local language, they
you know what? Even when you speak the local language, when they see a little bit of an accent, they already know that you're not from there.
like a little difference.
Yeah, exactly. And like, it's or even like little things such as um like eating spicy food, because we eat a lot of spicy food and I cannot tolerate it too much. When they see that I'm not able to eat it, they already know, okay, she's a foreigner.
Is there anything you want to say about your story to the audience, or anything you want to talk?
I just hope that my story inspires other people to make changes in their life. And I just hope that they see my vulnerability more as a strength, because it took me a while to talk about this like on a YouTube channel or an interview, because I was very, very shy and I never felt comfortable enough. But I feel like showing vulnerability to the world, it just makes people relatable to your story. So hopefully people can learn from this, and that they are not alone in their journey in like finding their identity.